Crafty Babes. This is Andrea. I'm excited to share a watch me work through one of my weekly memory keeping spreads. I am trying to only use the new Indoorsy kit from Tracy Reed. That's my goal, is to make this all about how we spend most of our days indoors. And it's week 47, so I'm trying to get through 2019 and get those unfinished weeks finished. So we are, let's see, I forget kind of how my process goes, just because I haven't done it for very long yet. But with my new template, I'm starting out by looking at my pictures, picking some colors that I think would work well, and then picking a washi. And then after that, then I decide how I'm going to stamp or number my calendar, basically. So here, I had the idea that I wanted to use these Carrie Bradford stamps and do the day of the week on the top and do the number of the day in the smaller section underneath, which is opposite of what normally the templates do look like. So I'm trying to kind of test it out. And then I got a little kind of uncomfortable with there being two blocks up there, and I felt like maybe it would be too heavy. So then I pulled out her day of the week scripted stamps and thought maybe what I would do is just stamp the first three letters of that and then do the block underneath so that it felt like it was a little bit different. And while I like this, and I like it in the two different colors, I really do, you'll see that I end up changing my mind. I definitely will do the two blocks because I know that that's what they're meant to be like, but I just felt like it might be a little too heavy, even with the lighter colors. So here what I'm doing is I'm just testing it out. I'm testing to see, should I do them with the same color ink? Should I do them with separate ink? And I have decided that it's going to be two different color ink. And even after I've decided that it's going to be yellow and pink, I still end up changing my mind about the yellow. And we will see that I make that decision here at some point before I get started. I think right here I'm starting to kind of question the yellow, but that's why I put it aside. I knew that I wanted the numbers to be pink, so I definitely went ahead and did that. So what I will do here is not have you see my head for every single time that I do this. But as you can tell, you do kind of have to get right up on top of it. So I'm going to fast forward through that. And when we're ready, when I'm done, then we'll pick back up. And I'm going to drop back in here as I finish up these last two. And something that I wanted to just mention is that when stamps are brand new, it does help to kind of season them. And I talked about this in my last Watch Me Work video. That's why you see me stamping off the very first time. So I'm rubbing the clean stamp on the back of my hand to get like some oils on it. And then I'm stamping off on the scrap piece of paper, and then I stamp it. I decided to use a brown for the day of the week because it felt better with the brown and red washi. Well, it's like brown and red and pink washi. It just felt like it helped balance things out. So I really, really, really love how it turned out. And again, I am, well, I don't know if I'm going to fast forward you through this. I don't know. It doesn't take that long, but you really, to do something like this, you just have to eyeball the stamp going on to the ink block. So you just kind of have an idea of where that letter ends, especially when it's a scripted font like this, to where the letters all run into each other. And a couple of times when I was doing the testing, which you don't see because it's off camera right now, sometimes I was getting a little bit too much, like I was getting a little bit too much of the next letter on it. So you just, it takes a little bit of an eyeball and a guess. And sometimes, with stamping, you just have to be okay with the imperfections. And I love how the extender parts of the letters are going down into the pink stamp. I really just love the way that this is looking. Love it. Okay, so we are on Sunday. We're on the last one. And then I think the next step will be to get some photos and cards going on here. I am not going to stamp or figure out how to display the week number yet. I think the process I'm going to use is definitely this order of things, where then I lay the photos out and determine kind of what other colors need to be established over there on the left-hand side and in the top corner. I feel like I can do the foundation with the days of the week and the washi tape and the photos and the cards. And then from there, I can kind of do extra decorating. So I just printed these out the morning that I am working on this. So I haven't cut them out yet. I'm basically just cutting them into smaller strips so that they're a little easier to manage than a full piece of paper on my desk. And I've taken away a couple of photos. I feel like sometimes when I have too many pictures of my own face, it feels weird and unbalanced. So I'm hoping that I can balance that out with some of the really cute cards that are in this set. I will have a link to this collection down in the description if you want to grab yours. It's basically all about being cozy and introverted and kind of like staying home and not liking to go outside. There's too many people out there. Things are crowded. And it's really a fun set. So I'm utilizing basically the colors with the teal and the pink and the yellow, and then kind of just finding the cards that feel right, the colors that feel right, making sure that things are, again, balanced and the color is thrown around properly. Also doing this tearing thing again, where adding a little bit of tearing on the cards that adds a little bit of fun. I also printed the elements on sticker paper, so that way I can just kind of easily fussy cut around them. I love printing those things on the sticker paper because then my fussy cuts don't have to be exact at all. They can just be a nice, easy flow around the image because it's sticker paper and it's clear. It's not going to show up. Makes it really nice. Okay, so at this point, I feel like my cards are where they need to be, and I'm going to start going through the elements and just picking things that I feel like I want to use. If I don't know exactly where I want them yet, then I'm just putting them either off to the side or I'm just kind of putting them aside, seeing what fits and what works. I believe this was a 2¼ inch punch for those larger ones. And possibly, no, a 2. I don't know that I have a 2¼ inch punch. I'm not sure. Anyway, find the punch size that works for you. You'll also see me moving things around because once I start playing with the embellishments, I will determine that maybe things are a little bit too crowded. Maybe there's too much color in one spot. But also there's this flag right here that says "Let's Chill," and I really wanted to put it on the refrigerator because we got our brand new fridge and I thought it was perfect because the refrigerator obviously just chills. So I thought that was fun. One thing that I like to do also, because my photos tend to take up the entire frame of they fill the frame. And so a lot of my photos don't have a lot of room for embellishment or journaling, and I save that for the cards. So I'll always give myself, permission to use the card or the space next to a photo to journal or decorate about that photo. So obviously the Let's Chill thing didn't happen on Saturday, or maybe we actually got the refrigerator on Saturday. I forget, but it doesn't matter. It's all just kind of about the week, and it's a general thing. And I am so sorry about the lighting. The weather was cloudy and then it was sunny and cloudy and sunny, and I couldn't adjust for all of the changes in lighting. It is much easier lighting wise to record at night, but I also don't do a lot of scrapping in the evening. My best, most creative times are in the morning, and my Saturday mornings are typically where I'm gonna organize a little bit, and I'm going to print out any supplies that I bought during the week. And that's when I get super creative and super motivated. And so this is definitely a Saturday morning scrap time. And I'm thankful for the clouds, but also they're being very annoying. I really love cloudy, foggy days, especially when it's wintertime. I don't do very well with the super cold, but thankfully, I mean, in California for us, it's really cold, but it's only like 40 degrees. That is very cold for me, and I have a bad back, and so the colder it gets, the more tense I get if I'm not warm enough, and that just makes my back hurt more. But I love being cozy and snuggly. I'm sure that if I lived anywhere else, I would probably be complaining quite a bit. I know some of you guys are dealing with like negative temperatures, and that it's crazy, just crazy to me. We live fairly close to Lake Tahoe, so it gets snowy up there, and it gets cold, and it's a good place to live by. I don't have to live in it. I've never actually even driven in the snow, to be honest. Okay, at this point, I have glued everything down. I've decided on the things that I am for sure about, so I'm gluing those down and deciding where things are going to go. And I am going to kind of flip around. Usually when I have, what am I trying to say? When I feel limited by just saying I'm going to use one kit, I start to get a little freaked out. So what I did on the left is, you'll see I pulled out a couple of extras, not from the kit, so that I felt like I had just a tiny bit more variety and different colors to pull from. And so you'll see that I'm kind of going to be really random with the places that I work now, because I'm trying to, again, throw color around. I'm trying to balance things out. And if I've added something on the top left, like I just added that little sticky note, what that does is then I can look at it as a whole again, and I can see problems, or I can see where I want things. So I can't always just work in like one square at a time. I add something and then I kind of look back. I remember when I used to quilt with my mom, she taught me how to stand back and look for color. And so she actually had this old peephole that, would actually be in a door, but it was just out of the door. It was just a peephole. But what you do is you stand back from the quilt and you look through the peephole, and then what it shows you is it shows you where the lights and darks are, and you're really able to see it as a whole, and you're able to move things around. And so that's basically what I do. Each time I add an element, I kind of look at the whole and determine if what I put down works, if it's the thing that's going to stick around, or if I have to move something else. Like you saw that once I put that little piece of washi down at the top, I moved a couple of extra things because I felt like they didn't fit there anymore. So, and sometimes there are deal breakers. Like, I want to use something so badly that I will make it work. And I will kind of put something else aside if that thing doesn't work with it. So hope that makes sense. Okay. So now I'm just trying to figure out where to put my week number, and I've decided to do it in this, blue color. So this is, I think, called Faded Jeans. The colored ink that I use is all the Tim Holtz Distress Oxides. What I was going to do at first was just do the blue outline, but then I remembered that I have the solid and the outline of this particular number stamp. So I decided to do the light pink for the solid, and then I went back and did the outline in the blue, just so that it had like a little bit of dimension. And I like that look, and it's a little bit offset. So there's some white, background that you can see in between the colors. And then I'm using my Weekish stamp That is my very first stamp I've ever designed, and I collaborated with Citrus Twist Kits on that one. And we just restocked. So if you would like this stamp, I will leave a link in the description as per usual, where you can find that at Citrus Twist Kits. And then I'm getting to the point where I'm kind of feeling okay with, you know, where my corners are and how things are going. So I'm going to start adding some layers and start decorating for real. Like, I realize I've been doing that, but I'm just really like making decisions and committing at this point. Yeah, see, I'm gluing stuff down. We're good. We're we're working. I actually used, that I really was trying to use the same piece of washi on both sides of the top, right and left. And I ended up putting that washi on a piece of grid strip, and I didn't like it anymore. I ruined it. So I end up using it somewhere else. But then I just decided to lighten it up there, and I ripped a little piece of book paper. That book paper to me is something that's so fun to use in any kind of scrapbooking project, because it just adds a little bit of like texture and neutral. It's a neutral, like it's just cream and black. So it really can go with all kinds of different color schemes. And it's super easy to find vintage books, just like your local thrift store or Goodwill. So there's plenty of places to find old books. And then you can just rip a few pages out and keep them with your supplies. They go with everything, so it's kind of fun. So I am making more commitments, and I decided to have that comfy die cut overlap from the pink onto the photo, because I'm actually talking about the photo, and then I have a little place for journaling under there. This, for some reason, I don't know, I guess, okay, so I'll be honest, I normally do journal, obviously, I journal, but I felt like these supplies didn't tell my story for the week. They just told like a separate story. So I felt like I needed to journal a little bit more about the actual photos, because the supplies are very themey. It has one theme. And obviously the theme of my week wasn't all that we just stayed indoors. So I felt like I needed to tell the stories of the photos, as well as the fact that most of our time as a family is spent at home. Both Matt and I work from home. Marshall's homeschooled. Gibson actually is the only person who leaves the house every day these days, because he has a full-time job and he goes to work. So, and I also have such an easy time journaling directly on my photos now that I'm using a matte photo paper. There's no sliding with the stamping or the writing. And plus my journaling pen is very fine, so it doesn't have a lot of room for slickness. I also then just stamped the month down there by the week, and we're finished. Thank you so much for being here. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.